Matt was kind of detailing for us what he's been dealing with. What's kind of your impression with how things have been going with his recovery?
I think slow to start, as we talked. Once he'd get active, he did get pretty active. But I would just label the running part frustrating. My input is obviously secondary to the medical staff, but the one thing is not just running the bases, but the play he kind of aggravated it the most on was coming in on a chopper, and that's what he's going to have to do if he's playing third base. So just kind of like we mentioned briefly last night, getting over that final hurdle of the running part is the key for him, and he hasn't got there. It's just kind of what it is.
You said previously that he probably wouldn't need a rehab assignment, given that it's prolonging at this point. Do you anticipate he would need one now?
I think that would be more of an open conversation now. I think he's at a point in his career where you kind of meet him in the middle a little bit and have an open conversation with him, no matter who you are, whether it's me, Zach, Buster, Gresh, and figure out what's best. But the more days that stack on, the more that it makes sense.
I know you've talked about how happy you are with Costa's defense, but the fact that he can play all over, would Parks Harbor maybe pique some interest at some point?
Yeah, I think he's just piqued interest in general. I mean, he was such a pain in our butt in college that he stands out to me stood out to me before spring training started. And then spring training, I just really felt like he held his own. Again, I've said it before, on defense, probably wouldn't be in the same category as Cost, but he just seems to be a get-it-done guy on defense, finds a way to do what he has to do. And then on offense, he's known for being a hitter for a good reason, and he's continuing to do that right now. So whether it's now or later, he's certainly intriguing.
Is Jesus going to be in the mix for infield reps here, just depending on how the deadline goes and Chapman missing more time?
He's dealing with a little bit of arm soreness, so kind of relates to our talk last night about being able to make some moves there at the end of a game with a little lopsided deal. So just trying to be cautious there.
Is this a day-to-day thing for him? Or?
Yeah, more day-to-day. And obviously, gave us a great at-bat last night. Didn't end the way that we wanted. He's been a good weapon for us there. It's been great mixing him in behind the plate. We can talk about defensive work, but he's been out there every day with us and working hard at second to make sure he can do that just as well as the outfield. Yeah, we can talk about defensive work. Well, I want to, because what it is somebody pulling a string, which is a little bit of nature of the business, but that's the biggest difference between, I get quizzed all the time. Not that it's better or worse people, but the nature there is, at least in that town, is what you say is what you say. And at this level, because there's so many eyeballs and it's so important to so many people, it's like a ball of string is what my analogy is, and people try and pull the string and do other things to kick stuff up. It's like me trying to have a private conversation with Webby in there, which all we were doing was shooting about strength and conditioning and when to mix in work and stuff like that, and someone's trying to eavesdrop to try and get a little nugget so they can throw it out there. And again, I understand it, but try and meet in the middle and be cordial with time and give long answers that maybe bore people that are listening, but maybe give you guys something more to be able to job that you're doing. But any questioning of anyone's work ethic that has to work with Wash is not right. But questioning work ethic there, first of all, is not anything close to what I put out there. I could give you my exact answer, but it's bullshit is what it is. If anything, if I had a Christmas wish and I was going to say one way or the other on the hitting, Willie probably works harder than any offensive player we have on his swing. If anything, he could maybe even deduct a couple swings. And that's not a jab, it's more of a compliment into that category. And if you're going to break down our infielders as it relates to time they invest, and you know the roster as well as anyone, and I asked you, hey, how many hours should this guy put in, this guy? Your first answer would be Bryce should be number one because he's the youngest and he's also learning a position he's never really played. And if he was with us the whole year, that would probably be the case. And then you slide over to second base at a guy that is adamant about showing the league he can do what he's shown what he can do, because this very place here labeled him a first baseman. He didn't play that position last year. So when I'm asked about the left side of the infield, those are two guys that have played those positions their whole career. They're veterans. You guys have grilled me. It's easy to pull stuff when it's not going well. And early on, you guys have grilled me about workload for those two guys as far as playing in games. So why would it come out about the other? It doesn't make sense. But again, anyone who's around Wash, you don't have a chance to buy in. You don't. That's not an option. You do. And then the work is put in. And as you and I have talked, whether it's back injury means a few less reps, during a certain period, or how many games you're playing is different for one guy or the other. It's what we got.
Just for him specifically, how much do you think the back has impacted what his
for a period of time it did. But he's out, you guys are here a lot, and I respect that, but you're not here all the time. And if you were, you'd see what guys are doing in between, team hours or what the hours are, you guys that are here. And certainly 3 people that plop in on one game day and try and do quick research. I've done it before. You got to talk like you know what you're talking about, but you don't know the whole story. You did a quick scam, and then you're saying what you think. Try and keep people interested. So, and again, I don't read that stuff, so I don't know if anyone's guilty of twisting words or saying something, but nowadays it only takes one word or one phrase for 17 or 18 people that are locked in their basement to run with, and then it piles on after that. But like I said, no matter what anybody says, any question of that is bull.
The numbers tell a certain story about his defense on the field. Or do you believe that it's been better than what the numbers say?
I think the numbers tell a story. By the end of the year, the game will tell you who you are. And I think, as you pile up sample size, you start to get a little bit of a just read on things. And I think every player on our team could do a little bit better at what they're doing. So, but if you look at the guy's body of work, if we're just going to talk about one position, he's played that position his entire career and been really good at it. And for us, has made some really dynamic plays. I think our group, whether it's coaches, players, trainers, we're all in that locker room together. Everybody could do a little bit better this year. And when it starts to tilt one way, you asked me last night about the at-bats. You just want me to be blunt about it. It's hey, is it on me a little bit? And do you want everybody to be Pete Rose every time in the box? Yes, but it's a little bit easier when you got a 7-run inning going against the Brewers to feel confident in the box and have a great approach. When you get punched in the mouth 3 innings in a row and you're down 7-0, it changes a little bit. And unfortunately, things for us this season have tilted a little bit too much on the negative side. And the end result, not just for any one individual, for our whole group, is everybody being at their locker either after the game or in the morning saying, man, I know I'm capable of better. And I know I could have done this a little bit different, this a little bit better. And all we can do is recognize that and then get the work out here. And I can promise you, everybody's working. And if you'd like to ask for special permission to stand back in the tunnel during a game and get your own read for, are these guys really trying hard? Are they working together? You can do that, I think. I'll talk to whoever I got to, and you can do that. Or you can wear my uniform, and we'll put a fake beard on you or whatever, and you can get a read on it.
I volunteer.
There you go. It'll be a little bit more challenging with you. I hope that's hopefully nowadays that's a politically correct thing to say. But yeah, we're all trying hard. And sometimes that's the devil of baseball is trying to do too much. Everybody's definitely guilty of that. But when your teammate's doing better, you do better. It kind of works the other way a little bit too. And so we're all in this together and trying to find ourselves a little bit. And hopefully by the end of the year, progress is made. And at the very, very least, I take the Giants fan base very, very seriously. I was a part of it. And at the very least, want people to watch on TV and say, you know what? Proud of the effort, or at least got a magic moment when I went to Oracle one day, or I can see that they're making progress, and I'm excited about what's going to happen the next day.
It seems like this struck a nerve with you, this in particular. Was it the broadcast last night, the Adames stuff?
Well, yeah, I don't want to know. My mind can be cloudy enough, and trying to, like we said last night, we're all trying to make sure we're here for each other. But if I get indication of someone put words in my mouth, I don't like it at all. So, but also, I don't think I've won Manager of the Year for standing up for our players, but again, that the effort's there, or the attitude is there. And if it's a case where someone's not worthy of that, I'm not going to put myself out there and do that. I've tried, I've been victim of being too honest with groups like this. So if it's what's right is right and what's not is not. And then you get goofy situations that come up. You guys got to find different avenues to take it. But most of them are pretty basic. this happened, so now we have this going on, and that's the case.
What does the challenge become to play that kind of baseball the rest of the way when you might have to trade somebody like Arise, who's been, an example of everything that's right, or a Robbie Ray who competes as well as he competes? Is it going to be an extra challenge for you to kind of help establish those
It could be, depending on the circumstances. But I think anytime there's changes, it's next task. And whether you have success, one thing that's tough for a pitcher in a big relief moment, let's say you come in and you get the lefty out you're supposed to get out. Well, if it's only the second out of the inning, it's next task. So I would say at this level more than any, because it is professional baseball, it's just got to be next task. And on the teammate side of thing, which I take very seriously, you don't ever replace somebody, whether they're a senior or they got drafted or they got traded or they got injured. You don't replace anybody, but you recognize why you'll miss that person and what value they brought to the table, and everybody's a little bit unique. I've said it to you guys a million times. Schmitty probably is the best guy in our locker room at keeping things simple, and it's a strong suit of his. He's not with us now. So everybody try and recognize, keep it simple a little bit more, and maybe you kind of fill that void to an extent in that particular case.